Well, the manager saw firsthand how big a job it's going to be. We managed one shot on target in the goalless draw at Fulham, but we did keep a clean sheet. Glenn, I'm going to come back to you first. You were talking about the attacking problem, and it was there laid bare for us all to see again, wasn't it, on Sunday?
Yes, it was. I'm not altogether surprised it turned out like that. Because obviously we were concentrating on not conceding. So obviously we had Ramsdale back, which made an absolutely huge difference. Yeah. Everyone looked more confident. The three centre-backs played really, really well as a unit, including our sixth captain of the season, I think he is, Jan Bednarek, who, I mean, I don't know quite what happened there, how he ended up as captain, but, he seemed to thrive under that. As opposed to some, he was elevated by it. It seemed he put in a tremendous performance, whereas other players this season have kind of been weighed down by it. But attacking wise, we never really got anything going, and it wasn't just Adam Armstrong who, kind of knew it was going to be like that. Tyler Dibbling really struggled to get into the game. Just gave the ball away a few times. Didn't seem to.
Were you surprised by that? Do you think he's just starting to struggle a little bit now? A lot of football.
It's young player, isn't it? Up and down. You're gonna have games like that. You can't be brilliant every game, and that's the one thing that young players struggle with is consistency over a long period of time. So, I mean, Russell Martin took him out of the team a couple of games. So maybe it's time for that. But the trouble is when he goes off, that's your creativity gone. Because Matty Fernandez seemed to be detailed with marking Sander Berger at the sort of base of their midfield. So he was almost doing a defensive role as well. And with Dibbling having an off day and Adam Armstrong being who he is, it was never really going to happen much up front. The only thing I'd complain about yesterday was the amount of time it took to get Paul Amo-Ameyaw on the pitch. Because even though he's not brilliant, the chaos he causes just through being there gives opportunities, for other players. And Cameron Archer come on at halftime, and he really didn't get involved either. So it was a tough shift for the forwards. But yeah, that's the issue that Juric has got to sort out, because you can see the potential in the back half of the team. But yeah, going forward, there's got to be some way of getting probably Archer into goal scoring positions that we're just struggling to do at the moment. I mean, we saw in the game at Liverpool what he can do when he gets the ball in the right areas of the pitch. But we've got to get him there, and that's one of the things that Juric, along with the midfielders, have got to work on.
Do you feel like we've cracked it, Glenn, with that back three though, with Wood coming in now? Because he came in because of a suspension, and actually, I don't think he deserves to be dropped.
No, he absolutely doesn't. He's been as good as he could possibly be, and he's performed above a level that everyone thought he was capable of. He's never played in the Premier League before. He was in and out of Swansea's team last season, and he's come in £3 million.
Great their business.
Well, at the moment, it's looking that way. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone assumed he was a signing for next season. Whatever division we were going to be in, but because of Captain Calamity getting sent off and suspended yet again. But this is what you've got to do. You wait for ages for your chance. He's not even in the squad. He comes in, he plays well, and now he's basically played for two managers already, and they've both seen fit to leave him in the team. So, but yeah, I think those three, can certainly make a case to stay in the team. And to be quite frank, it would be a surprise and somewhat disappointing if he got left out when Stevens came back.
Well, Stevens is back for Boxing Day, isn't he?
He is back. He is now available.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting test, I think, of sort of what Juric kind of is looking for in his defenders. I think.
But what would you do, Steve? Because he said, I think today he said, the players don't know me, but I know them. So he's going to be aware, which was a great quote, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's. I mean, you can read so much into that, can't you? And most of what you read into it will probably be bollocks. But it is a great quote to kind of pick an angle, and then go down some sort of rabbit hole with it. But yeah, I mean, you could imagine that he's kind of seen the 2 red cards that Stevens has had this season and thought, well, you're not a captain, no chance. But equally, he could still be kind of using the previous coaches as a sounding board, and actually his influence in the dressing room is valued, and all this sort of stuff that usually gets rolled out when people start talking about Jack Stevens and the qualities he has or doesn't have. So I kind of think for his first game, I don't think I'd be surprised if he brought Stevens back. But at the same time, I don't. But at the same time, I don't think he will. I think he'll have seen enough from yesterday to say no. We'll stick with these guys. I mean, the one change you might do is Walker Peters back across the right and Manning on the left, maybe. But again, I mean, it depends on who you're matching up against. Problem is, I mean, West Ham obviously bring Bowen and Kudus into the mix, and they both generally play from out wide. So you need the sort of defensive bodies out wide to be able to cope. So yeah, I mean, maybe that 5 stays as it is. The midfield might have a little bit of a tweak. I think Ugochukwu probably has opened enough eyes for him to come in for probably a Rebo, I guess. And then the forward line kind of play it by ear, see who's fit, see who's got the most energy.
We were kind of bigging Fulham up a bit when we spoke last week, Alfie. They've beaten Brighton, they've drawn with Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool in their past 4 games. So we were saying this was going to be quite an interesting game, and there lots of really good individual players as well. So did they have a bit of an off day? What did you make of it all?
Yeah, I think they did have an off day, but I think we're also seeing a symptom of being comfortably far and away the worst team in the league. Is that every opposition manager at the moment sees fit to rotate their best players, and they had a 17-year-old academy player starting in the number 10, Josh King. Not that Josh King.
Excuse me. I thought it was that Josh King.
Yes,
so
it's not that Josh King.
I have no recollection of that guy signing for Fulham.
Yeah, so some young academy lad, and also they brought in Rodrigo Muniz up front, and gave Raul Jimenez an afternoon off. So we're at that point now where managers think they can beat Southampton rotating their players, and usually they could, they have been able to. Chelsea did it, Spurs did it. So I think they did catch Fulham on a little bit of an off day. They've also got a couple of injuries in sort of Kenny, Tete, they're right back, and they brought Timothy Castagna in for the first time this season. So maybe it was just a decent time to play them. But also the way the Southampton set up was so defensive. They obviously attempted more long balls against Fulham than they have done in any other game this season. You didn't need me to tell you that. You could see that. And I think that maybe the players just felt a little bit liberated. And I found, although it would get boring quickly, I actually found it quite refreshing that they just lumped it forward sometimes when it was in a dangerous position.
Mixed success, though, wasn't it? Was it
very mixed?
You were looking at the stats.
Probably you've got no one to aim it at.
Exactly. That's the bit that needs to solve. Is it's coming straight back at them. But to be fair, I don't think Ivan Juric is about just lumping it forward. They ranked higher for short and medium passes when compared to the rest of the league than they did for long passes at Roma and at Torino. So it's not going to be a case of just smash it into the floodlights and hope for the best. They've got clear patterns of play, but they clearly have that variation. I think that's what Southampton need. They just need that little bit of variation, that little bit of freedom, that if I feel under pressure here, and it might not be the best thing for the team, but rather than make a mistake that leads to a goal, just get it forward. Yeah. And I think they just need to solve that. Paul and Achu could be useful, but is he fit enough to start? Who knows?
We shall see. Anything else on Fulham? I don't want to spend too long talking about a 0-0 draw.
Referee, good God.
Oh, go on, Steve.
Jesus wept. I mean, the thing is, there weren't really any sort of real big game-changing decisions in at all. It was actually quite an easy game to referee, and yet he still managed to make a complete pig's ear of it.
It was right in front of me, the Flynn Downs one, and you just see it was so obviously wrong.
It was, I mean, it was like the most perfect of perfect tackles you could imagine. Not a single player appealed for it from the Fulham side of things. And he sees fit to give him a yellow card when a near identical challenge had gone the other way, and it was, oh no, we'll play on here. The penalty shout we had in the last minute, I'm kind of relaxed about. He obviously got a toe end on the ball first, and then you've got this kind of secondary trip, which I'm not even sure is in the box. So I suspect you're probably never going to get that overturned. But there were just some utter weirdness. Like he obviously stops play when Castagna goes down after a hand to the neck, I think it was. But he only stops it once we've got the ball in the dangerous area. And then when we go down, it takes him absolutely ages to stop the game and waits until it's kind of convenient. I think there were 2 or 3. One time when we actually had a shot, I think clipped off possibly Bassey's hip. Definitely went for a corner, and the ref was just pointing for a goal kick. It's just like what I just don't understand what he's seen with half of these decisions. It was utterly infuriating, and it's just one of those performances where you just kind of think he's just got no interest in giving us any decision whatsoever, even one that's kind of a 70-30 in our favour. It was bizarre, but didn't cost us, fortunately.